Good morning, everyone. Don't you feel good in this heat? It's like we're Pacific Northwest people. We're used to cool and rain and yeah. So, anyway, do drink an extra glass of water. The mama and me just wanted to say that to you. So, it'll be good for you. So, welcome to Unity of Bellingham. My name's Shari Humes. I'm your assistant today, and we have Reverend Frank this morning. And his talk today is on the edge of liminal cliffs. So you'll learn what liminal means.
See the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you. And so it is. I see the child in you. I see the sweetness in you. I see the softness in you. And so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I just know it that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the goodness in you. I see the wisdom in you. I see the strength in you, and so it is. I see the joy that's in you. I see your light shining through. I see the love that's in you, and so it is. I can see it. It's right there before me. I can feel it deep in my soul. I just know it that you are an angel full of magic and power and pure sweet love. I see the grace that's in you. I see the courage in you. I see the heart in you, and so it is. I see the beauty in you. I see the power in you. I see the greatness in you, and so it is. And so it is. And so it is.
In this time and space, we gather in prayer. We gather in unity to bring the presence, power, and grace of the One into this time and space. Let us, as one, breathe in that love that is in us, as us. With love, all things are possible. So it is possible to bring healing and well-being to the people of Maui, the residents of Lahaina, and their family and friends. We trust and have faith our prayers for healing and well-being are already in flow, in action. Embrace the truth when one or more are gathered in prayer, great things happen. We ask as well that all are safe from excessive heat, that our beloved area is free from fire. At this time as well, if you would like to bring someone forward in your heart and mind who can be fortified with prayer, please feel comfortable saying their name aloud. Gabby and Jean. And so it is. Amen. I now invite you to sink into your chair. Just relax. Relax your shoulders and take a nice, slow, deep breath in as we move into a time of meditation. Feel your body accept relaxation. Allow your breath to quiet your mind and open your heart. Breathe in. In each moment exists a galaxy of possibility. As we travel through life, a precipice of potential is waiting to unfold. It is common throughout our day to identify wants and desires that have been in the asking over time. You might identify one by the words, "Where is," or "How I wish that." What if you take the chance to believe that each moment is an opportunity? You could ask a different question, such as, "What's next?" So it's okay to be curious. How does it feel to step to the edge of creation? Imagination and curiosity are powerful, creative actions that take us to new possibility, new unfolding. Consider that imagination and creativity are your connection to universal source energy. Rest in that knowing. Breathe in and allow your imagination to illumine your mind. What lies before you? Take the next moments as the singing bowls open your heart and allow curiosity. Allow creativity and imagination to lead you.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and true and free as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fears that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day. And I am wiser every moment, every day. And I'm more loving every moment, every day.
Whoa. Did you feel good? The bowls, the harmony, the music. You know, this particular talk I have today is a sort of an invitation for all of you to sink into the experience of your own hearts. And, you know, many times when it comes to a Sunday and I look at a talk, I might look at some scripture or have some kind of lesson, and I feel like it's really grounded in maybe a scripture passage or something from the Tao. And today what I found was I'm just going to my own experience. Because there's this thing that we keep noticing, and I sort of call it a Christic field, like the energy of the Christ. Almost like a vibration, like a field. You know, Jesus talked about this realm of the divine. And he probably didn't have the words yet that we have in our modern and postmodern time of science, where we understand vibrations and resonance and fields, morphic fields, and all sorts of fields. But I want to invite all of us, because we've stood in that field. All of us have. We know it. We know when we're in the vibrational match. We know when we're in that sense of here's the wavelength of Christ energy. How do I join that wavelength? How do I stay at that same place that Jesus knew, that place of the Christ, that place of resonance? And he talked about this sense of the realm of heaven. But I want to suggest that heaven is the next step. And after that, perhaps, if you think of it in this terms, is we find that resonance of that place of heaven. And then yet another step after that is we find ourselves in the resonance of the Christ, where we all can be in that same energy of this, what I would call a Christic field, this field of the Christ, this place, this energy. And what I know for myself is I know when I felt like, oh, there it is. And I know what it feels like to go, that ain't it. I missed that one. So the talk today is called On the Edge of Liminal Cliffs. Liminal is a word that means you're in that in-between space. I'm here, but I want to be there. I'm at the edge. I can see that it's just on the other side, but how do I jump from this field, this resonance I'm at, which is, it's always fine. I mean, there's nothing that we're doing wrong. It's just that we have the capability of being in a new place, in a new resonance, in a new vibration, in that Christic field. How do I push through that liminal space and be on the other side? How have you experienced it? How have I experienced it? So sometimes the best way to explain these things, in my view, is a story. So I went out back when I was working with the EPA. We were doing work in Navajo Land. And after work sometime, some of our friends at Navajo told us, we had gone to Canyon de Chelly, and Canyon de Chelly is on Navajo land. It's these two canyons. They're really beautiful, and there's a lot of cliff dwellings. You've probably seen those White House cliff dwelling, and it's the ancestral Puebloan people, sometimes called Anasazi, but now more recognized as ancestral Puebloan, these ancient people. And some of these places were built in 100, 200 of the Common Era, abandoned somewhere around 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, probably because of a mega drought that took place in the southwest of the United States. And so these places, we don't know a lot about these people. Archaeologists are trying to discover, but there they are. And many of them are huge cities like Chaco Canyon, but many are built on the very side of mountains. And you've seen these, right? Everyone knows what I'm talking about. And so some of the people at Navajo told us where some of these places might be, and they told us where some petroglyphs were, and I took a drive out, and my friends didn't want to go, so I'm by myself, and they said, you go out, there's like these rocks, and there's a sign, but the sign got knocked down, you'll see the post, and you turn left, and you go out, and you'll see a place where you can probably park the car. So I found it, and I parked the car, and thank God I stopped when I did, because just 100 feet over would have been like not good. Like the edge of the, it's like park here. So I get out of the car and I walk up. Now I'm a person, little scared of heights is an understatement. When we drove up to Mount Baker, I had to pull over and go, Diane, please drive. I got in the back seat and covered myself, like, getting up that mountain. So here I am walking up to this cliff edge, right? And I could see this beautiful petroglyph across the mountain. They call it a thunderbird. Maybe it's an eagle or something, but this ginormous petroglyph on the other side. And I walk up right to the edge of the cliff. Take a breath. To get up, because I wanted to see this petroglyph. I wanted to see what was there, and you get right to the edge. And you look around. Now, these are the places where, at the moment, the sun was shining and the wind was blowing. And, it's the Southwest. You can hear a bird like 20 miles away. I kid you, I was like, "Rah!" And you can hear it just echoes through the canyon. And there was this peace in the middle of my shaking that just sort of overcame me, right? On the very edge of the cliff. On the very edge. So, of course, I'm making a metaphor, right? We all, and I want you to recall a time in your life, in the past, where you've walked to the edge of the cliff. Not a physical cliff, necessarily. Something happened, and some of these are pretty normal. It's like, I was thinking the other day, my son just got engaged. He's approaching the cliff. Because when you say, I do, you are now changing. You have gone through liminal space, and something has changed. You were single, now you're married. That's a change. And when you walk up the aisle, you are walking up to that edge of that cliff. So I'm not making going to the edge of the cliff a bad thing. I'm just saying, or is it a scary thing? Lots of times. And some of the times walking to the edge of the cliff is we didn't really have a choice. And think of times in your past where something happened, maybe somewhat traumatic. The phone rang. My kids were in school. The phone rings. Are you Mr. Castro-Wehr? I am. Is your son Dominic? Yes. So he's okay. But I need to tell you, it's like, as soon as they start the sentence with, just to let you know he's okay, you know he's not, right? It's like, what happened? We got a few of those phone calls. Are you Frank? Is your son Dominic? He's okay. Now what? And instantly, you're on the edge of the cliff. What happened? You know? Things happen in our lives, and they push us to the edge of the cliff. And sometimes going to the edge of the cliff doesn't feel so good. A little frightening. But what I want to suggest is we need to go to the edge of the cliff. We need, and I'm suggesting that the way we move forward with the greatest level of joy, the greatest level of abundance, the greatest level of our good, is we need to allow ourselves to be at the edge. The way forward to our greatest good is we allow ourselves to go to the edge. The greatest power, our greatest good, our greatest power, our greatest good is when we allow ourselves to go to the edge. Got it? Let's say it together. Our greatest power, our greatest good is when we allow ourselves to go to the edge. Again, our greatest power, our greatest good comes when we allow ourselves to go to the edge. Yeah. And so the key word here is allowance. Is allowance. Because so many times when we go to the edge, we go, yeah, I think I'll do that later. I'm at the edge. Yeah, I don't really want to look at that right now. We come up to the edge. And what are those edges? And this is something I've learned in my life that I love about edges. Is that when we get to the edge, here's an example of an edge. I'm or you're or one of us, we're laying in bed at night. And you know, you lay in bed and you're getting relaxed and you start thinking about your day. And you think, ooh, that conversation I had, that was beautiful. I love that time. The way I spent time with that person, the way I showed up in that situation, that was great. Or, man, I wish I could take that back. Okay, so everyone's laughing, you know what I'm talking about. That's an edge. When you get up and you go, man, the way I said that was, that wasn't kind. That wasn't useful. The way I showed up for that person or didn't show up for the person, that didn't really work out. That wasn't the person I want to be. And when I get to that edge, and here's the thing, we want to go to the edge. Our greatest power and our greatest good comes when we allow ourselves to go to the edge. And not only allow ourselves to go to that edge, but allow ourselves to recognize what the edge was. Matter of fact, we want to go to the edge. Because it's easy to go, la, 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 let's just forget that. What's on TV? I'll check my voicemail. Because the edge, you feel it. You know when you're getting to that edge, just like you know when you're on the edge of Canyon de Chelly going, ho, 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 ho. You feel it in your gut. I feel it in my gut. So think about times when we're going to the edge. Think about times in your own life, not only the great tragedies, but see, I think it was easy for me to do this, so I'm thinking it's probably pretty easy. A time you've been on the edge means a time when you hit something we said, something we did, a way we showed up, a way we thought about ourselves, and we thought, you're feeling like I'm on the edge. It's uncomfortable. I'm not sure I like that. That's the edge space. Go there. I'm asking you, go there. Look at that place in your life. Not avoid, allow. Allow. Allow it to wash through us. Allow. It is the truth of what happened. Allow it to be, and allow it to be alive in our consciousness so that then we can use it as a tool for transformation. The edge is a good place to be. We want to allow that. And then you say, well, when I get up to the edge and I want to, so how do I do, what is my choice to say I want to do things different? What do I say I want to do different? What do I choose instead? I choose the good. I choose the sacred. I choose what's beautiful. What do I choose instead? I choose the good. I choose the sacred. I choose what's beautiful. Say that with me. What do I do on the cliff? What do I do instead? I choose the good. I choose the sacred. I choose the beautiful. Now, by the way, when I went up and saw on the edge and I kept tiptoeing up and I thought I was going to fall over, actually I didn't. It didn't actually fall off like this. It was actually a nice, gentle slope. And what I found was there was a trail, this big old trail that led down to some cliff dwellings that were down below. And archaeologists had been using this trail and discovering all sorts of new things in the cliff dwellings down below where I was at. So there I was on the edge. This is the end. Oh my God, I got to look at this. I'd rather, because why didn't you just get in the car and drive away? Because there's something compelling about the edge. There's something that goes, I want to see what's over the side. I want to go further. There's this energy, this vibration, this Christic field that says, get there. Be in that space. Be in that energy. Get on the edge. And all of a sudden you go, whoa, not only is there a trail, it leads to something marvelous and amazing and mind-blowing and awe-inspiring. And then the trail went down past these old ancestral Puebloan ruins, and it went down. You could see the trail. It went way down, and there was a creek, and there was a river, and it went down, and there was a whole roadway. And it was just a path to something new. It was just a pathway to what's next. It's just a way forward. But we can't get there until we first are willing to step to the edge and allow it to be. Allow, if there's fear, just go, there it is, fear. I can move that aside. I can choose to love. I can choose to be here. I can choose to say yes to this experience. I can choose to say yes to looking at my own reality, my own life, my own choices, and say, what do I do different? How do I move forward to the good, the beautiful, the sacred? How do I do that? There's a trail. And there's always a trail. There's always the next side. There's always the possibility. Think back to that call, that thing, the very start where I said, think of a time you were on the cliff, like the phone call, oh my God, I was here to think. Someone in Maui, that morning they got up, they had breakfast, they made their bed, they went out to work, and then by that night they didn't have a house. On the cliff, liminal space. Now what's next? But I'm here. I'm in the space. Don't want this to happen to anyone. Wish it on anybody. But we're on planet Earth. Sometimes these things happen. And now I'm in the liminal space, and I'm looking forward, and I'm standing in a new energy. And it's like the prayer. What's the prayer? What comes forward? Now what unfolds in the good? Now what unfolds for the beautiful? Now what is going to unfold for the sacred energies of my life? And to deny it or step back and say it didn't happen, first we got to stand in the energy and allow what happened to wash through us and to be awakened to those energies. So I have a formula for you. Here's what we do when we move up to the sacred space. It may be in a traumatic moment, like getting your phone call or like something happens to the house, but those are rare. The bigger time that happens is the little pieces that move through our life and give us an opportunity to choose to stand to that edge, to sit there at night and think to ourselves, what happened today? What about that conversation I have? Was that the best conversation? Could I have done that different? Go there. Go there. Allow that. Look at that. Step one, allowance. Allowance. Step two, be curious. Thank you for that in the bowls and the meditation. Be curious. What the heck happened? Why did I show up that way instead of this other way? Was I aligning myself into this Christ vibration, into this Christic field? Was I acting from that energy? What was the energy that I was acting from that I would rather maybe do differently? Be curious. What was I thinking? Well, there's a big one in unity. What thoughts were I holding in mind? What energy was I holding in mind? What feelings were going through me? What in my subconscious was running my operating system? What story was running through that got the better of me and said, we're going to run with this low energy story instead of showing up at the energy of the Christ level? What happened? Be curious. Be honest. I've been thinking about this. I wrote up, and here's something you can do. I did this many years ago. I wrote out, what are the 8 best things that ever happened to me? And I wrote them down, 8 things. Oh, this. And then I said, write down 8 things that these were like awful experiences in my life I would never want to repeat. And I wrote them all down. And what's common about those experiences I didn't like, and what's common about those experiences I did like? What's the difference? What was showing up? Just allow those memories. Allow that energy. It is what it is. Don't fight it. I don't want to look at it. It's too harmful. It makes me feel embarrassed. It makes me feel bad. Just look at it and be curious. What was the energy running in my operating system in those negative things? Here's a little self-disclosure. When I looked at all those negative things, there was one thing that was there all the time: alcohol. For me, little self-disclosure. Now, I don't have any problem with what everyone else does as far as alcohol in their life. I'm just looking at me. And I said, every one of those things had something to do with party atmosphere. When it didn't work out, it was a party. Everything over here that worked out well had a very different energy. Loving community. Over here, it was a party. So guess what I decided to do? Party. Party in a different way. Thank you. And I still like a good party. The parties I like have to do with love and community. Now, that's me. Ask yourself. I'm not making that a global statement about anything. I'm just saying I looked deep into my own life. I stood on the edge and I said, what keeps getting me into this place where I wake up the next day and go, I wished I would have done it different. I wished I would have gone in a different way. I wish I would have showed up in a different field. And I didn't maybe have the language then, but I have the language now. What's the energy of the Christ? What's the Christic field? How can I stay in that resonance? And we don't get to see it until we allow it. Allow it. It is. This is what is. This is what happened. This is my life. This is my journey. This is what I knew about myself. Allow it. And then get curious about it. What's that for me? And I still love to do this exercise. Allow, get curious, and there's part 3. There's a part 3. So first we allow, then we get curious. What was I doing? What was happening? What was I thinking? Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. What was I thinking that led me to act that way in ways that that wasn't my favorite way? And part 3 is this. Seek peace. In here we read in A Way of Mastery a great definition of peace. Peace comes when we are aligned our will with the will of God. Peace comes when we align our will with the will of God. It's not the absence of fighting necessarily. It's not the absence of drama necessarily. It's not that there's not conflict. It's not that there's not issues. Welcome to humanity. We rub against each other sometimes. We do. Peace comes when when I'm choosing at every moment to say, how do I get into that field of the Christ and work on that energy, that vibration, that harmony, that wavelength, that field, that Christic field? How can my energy match that? It's a match game. How do I match that? How do I be that field? And my energy matches the will of God. And in all humility, how do you know what that is? Well, there's lots of examples. Lots of great sages and saints have told us so much about what that is. Does it bring harmony? Does it bring peace? Does it bring kindness? Does it bring compassion? Does it bring transformation? Does it uplift our soul? Does it bring what's good? Do we see new levels of beauty? Can we feel into the energy of the sacred? Oh, any more? You want to throw it any more? What else? What else is in this Christic field? Gratitude. What else? Oh, creativity and gratitude. Those are great. What else? What? Imagination. Yes, and the level of our imagination is fired up. Yes. Trust. Truth. Truth. Oh, we can do another talk about truth. I'm ready to talk about truth. We need some truth. What else? One more. Love, of course. The energy of love, the loving decisions. So we have a map. We know we're in the Christic field. We say, well, what's the will of God? What's the will of God for my life? What creates goodness? What creates truth? What creates beauty? What creates love? What creates the sacred? We know this. And yet we look and we get on the edge and we go, oh, I'm looking at the edge of this space. And we have to pass through. We have to keep going. We have to find the trail. And I'm going to end with another story because I love this story. Just a quick one. In Thailand, in 1750, the Burmese came in with an army and they went through and there was a big war with Tibet. And they came upon this one temple, and they went in, and they were stealing and robbing and everything. And there was this giant Buddha made of clay, and it had glass stuck over it. And it was kind of a nice-looking Buddha. And they were, like, ruining things and stealing things, but this thing was huge, 10 feet tall and heavy. So they went, this old clay Buddha's not worth anything. And so they moved on. And then, years later, come all the way forward into the 20th century, in the early 1900s, the Thai government said, we need to go to where all these old temples are that all throughout the countryside, and this is part of our heritage, and we need to re-embrace our heritage. Not only do we need to be aware as individuals, but we need to be aware as communities, and we need to be aware of culture, and we need to know what's beautiful and good and sacred about our community, about our culture, about our religions, about our faith traditions, about our histories. So they said, let's go grab all these old Buddha statues, and let's bring them into Bangkok in the city, and let's find a home for them. They're often these abandoned temples up in the jungle and everything. So they went out and they brought this ginormous clay and glass Buddha, and man, it was heavy, and they brought it into town in the 1920s, and they put it, but the temple wasn't big enough because it was 10 foot tall. So they stuck it outside, and they put a tin roof over it, and people would walk by and light incense, and it was this kind of beautiful clay Buddha. But the people said, we need to honor. We need to be aware of our deep traditions. And this is a beautiful 400-year-old or 500-year-old Buddha, and it survived the Burmese invasion from hundreds of years ago. Let's bring it into one of our new temples. And it was this very large temple. And yeah, it's not that nice. I mean, it's kind of gaudy. It's made of clay, and it's got like this glass stuck all over it. But you know what? It may not be the nicest. It may not be the most beautiful, but let's be aware that this is part of us, part of our tradition. Let's be curious about this thing. Let's see the beauty in it. Let's honor this big old Buddha and bring it in and give it some space. Let's align our will in this Christic field, this Buddha mind field. Let's just say we can be love in this place, and let's just honor our history with this old beat up statue. So they brought it in with these cranes. It was really heavy, and they hauled it over, and the ropes broke, and it fell. Crack! The clay part busted off. And they went, ooh. And they went in with flashlights, and they looked in, and it was shiny. And so they got out there with chisels, and they started chiseling the clay away. It was thick. You see, what happened was when the Burmese attacked, the monks in this temple said, they're going to steal our Buddha. Let's cover it with clay so they don't think it's worth much. And as they chiseled it away, It turns out it's made of pure gold. 5 tons, 10 foot tall, the 40% gold of the body, 80% gold of the face, and 100%, 99% pure hair and curls and locks of the Buddha. Current value, $250 million. B. It's in a temple in Bangkok. Yeah. So we look and we go, yeah, but there's parts of me that, we're on the edge, and go, yeah, but not that part of me. You say, love and find and bring forth and allow different parts of me to come forth. Yeah, not that part. I don't want to show that part. That part's not so beautiful. That part's not so gorgeous. That part's, it's beat up. It's just like this old gaudy clay and glass and laid in Buddha. I don't want to show that part. When we go to the edge and we look at all of us, the deepest parts of us, what's unfolding in us, and then we're honest about, hey, look, that's me. I'm going to allow it. And I'm going to get curious about it. I'm going to go ahead and take it out of where I have it, where I'm not looking at it. I'm going to bring it into the temple of my heart and own it. And then the layers start chiseling away. And then the outer pieces start chiseling away. And then we look at what all this stuff is. It's all a gift. See, it's not like we go to the edge because we're forced. I'm saying go to the edge because that's where the good, the true, the beautiful are going to show up. The most powerful, the most abundant, the most fulfilling ways of finding and unraveling our nature is when we go to the edge. And it's there where we find the good, the true, and the beautiful. So guess what? Each of us, within us, and think about that piece of your life you want to go, yeah, but not that. Not that part of me. Not that element of me. I'd rather not talk about that part. Nobody knows. I am not bringing it up. Yeah, that part. That part. Take it to the edge. Take it out and take it to the edge. Allow it to be truth of our nature. And then take a look at it and be curious. Shine a spotlight on it. And what you very well will find is the gold part, the golden element of our own soul, of our own unfolding, of our own next great path forward. That's you guys. That's all of us. Let's do that. Let's do that. It's just amazing. Okay, blessings.